On today's episode of Off the Hardwood, Tyson, you want to break the news? You want me to break the news?
I'll break it. I'll break it. So, as you can see, we're live on location.
We officially have a studio.
We have a studio going, located at HQ home base, Highlands Ranch. So I'm excited to get this thing rolling.
We first off, State of the Union address. We'd like to apologize to the listeners for. I think when you're a 21-year-old kid trying to start up a podcast and you don't have a lot of funds, it's a difficult task to ask a man to walk in a Guitar Center and just absolutely throw the bag down and get equipment. We didn't have the bag. We weren't prepared. But through extensive research on Amazon and conversation with my guy Bill at Best Buy, we are fully equipped, live in studio, MSG, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of podcasting as it's known around the neighborhood.
It's the Mecca.
The absolute Mecca. Man, Tyson, how we doing, man? It's been 2 weeks. It's been a little. We've had some time off, some time to regroup, some time to figure out what we want to do.
Just a brief hiatus, but we're back. Doing good, man. We're doing good. Glad to be back for some more content for the listeners.
Yeah, this is going to be a big step for us. We got a lot of good content coming this week. We have made the executive decision that we will just chopping it up. You know, just shooting the shit, just spitting, just talking. We couldn't get an interviewee amidst the equipment chaos and hiatus, and we're officially back. We're live. But with all that being said, we've also had 2 weeks to watch a lot of basketball and a lot of NBA playoffs.
A lot.
So we're going to go through a series of some questions that we're just going to kind of break down from what we've seen as 21-year-old non-journalist majors in our basement, sitting on the couch, basically, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's start off with our first segment of the week. Tyson, give me this segment is titled Hot Take, #fresh off the press, take of the week. I think I said take twice, but there's a take once in there. You know what I meant to say. You know what I meant? Give me your one storyline that has kind of stood out to you amidst this whole process.
Good question. So the storyline that I'm following heavily right now is Trae Young versus the state and city of New York.
Okay, yeah. No, and for those, if you've been living under a rock for the last 2 weeks, basically what happened was in game one, Trae Young hit a floater. The MSG has been
lit. That whole series has just been incredible, really. Like there's not too much else you can. That is high level basketball.
No, yeah, the MSG has been lit. I mean, I think everybody kind of agrees that basketball is just better in general when the Knicks are good. I kind of think that, like, obviously the Mecca, it's probably the most famous and well-known arena in the history of basketball, and the Knicks are one of the most well-followed and have the biggest fan bases in all the NBA, and it's just been so long. I think what's funny is, like, I'm 21 years old, and I, like, genuinely don't remember the last time the Knicks were good.
Melo.
That's what I like the years where they traded for Melo from Denver. But even then, they were
first round.
Yeah,
maybe get to the Eastern Conference semis. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, they got some things building right now. It's they got a good young core, but Trae Young is just torching them.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, which makes it so funny, is like New York, even though they have the biggest fan base, they also have probably the most unrealistic and high expectations, and like they're going to support you, but the moment something goes sideways, they're instantly just going to hate, and they're going to come down like full force. And so I think that's been pretty funny to watch. And like the management of the Knicks has not been great, and to see them, they've made some rather questionable,
very, very questionable draft picks, trades. But it looks like Tibbs got them rocking. Not right now though. The thing I love watching the most, watching Trae Young, is dude is what, 6'1", 6'2", balding, but
like extensively bald.
And as dudes who I'd say we're below the rim guys. You know,
I would classify myself as a below the rim basketball player.
We're below the rim guys, like a dude like Trae Young, who's just absolutely just filling it up, diamond, getting his teammates involved, getting the crowd involved to a ridiculous extent. It's just fun to see.
Yeah, and I think kind of what makes the Trae Young thing so funny is, like, in my opinion, like MSG, it's not the Mecca because like the Knicks are always just like the best team in the league. Like the MSG is called the Mecca because it's the place where like all the greats come and just put on an absolute show and just rip the Knicks heart out year in and year out. Like it happens every single year.
Every year, all the stars come out, and it's just everybody who is dubbed as a great player is just an unbelievable performance at MSG.
Yeah, like you think back about The Last Dance where Jordan went for, I think somewhere in this, I don't remember the exact amount of points, but he was wearing the ones and his shoes were bleeding. He was going crazy. Yep. LeBron's gone for 50 plus. Kobe's gone for like 60 plus. Yeah. I remember like vividly a D Rose highlight when during that MVP season where he made a sweet like move and then just had this crazy reverse layup. I'm like, MSG is just where like the stars come out to shine. And Spike Lee like nearly popped his hip out of place jumping up courtside. And then you got Tracy Morgan like screaming God knows what front row. And they said this on Shut Out My Show, pardon my take, but I thought this was hilarious. Like the Knicks MSG has to lead the league in uniforms in the stands with no undershirts. Just bare skin, nipple chafing, just sweating bullets in those jerseys.
The hair chest to armpit sweat ratio is ridiculous.
With the gold mobster chain.
Just a fat Cuban link.
Just like a blue Taj Gibson jersey, just absolutely sweating through.
Number 67.
67, just drenched in sweat. They got the gold chain, the gold wristband. Like it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. But the vibes are extremely immaculate.
No, yeah, like basketball is 100% better when the Knicks are good. I think everybody will agree with that. And I think part of it's just all the history. It's just like the tradition, and it's just like everybody loves to see the Knicks good again, just because of the environment that it creates.
For sure.
They got game five tomorrow. Currently down 3-1. It's not looking too smooth.
Yeah. I think the Knicks are gonna get game 5. I think Julius Randle's gonna get his act together a little bit. My thing is, this is just me. I think he's shooting way too many just step back jump shots.
Yeah, he is. He hasn't learned like what a double team is yet.
Yeah, he's shooting. They said the other day he like led the NBA in isolations.
Yeah, no,
I didn't know that, but I mean, watching this series, you can tell he's reaching a little bit, but we'll see. I think he's gonna get it together though.
Definitely not ideal. Back to the Trae Young thing. How many in-game dunks have you had in your career?
In game?
And on top of that, I'm gonna throw in another question. On top of that, what's like your percentage? Like how many you've made out of how many you've like attempted?
I'm 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
That's an impressive resume.
3 for 3, and I'm done.
I think I'm like 1 for 8. I had that one at the chaos thing my senior year. Barely snuck that bad boy over the rim. Just fingertips just grazed.
I don't know if a lot of you know this, but our senior year, Sam was a dunk contest champion.
Yeah, here's a fun
side note.
Big side note for the listeners here. I'm 1 for 8 in my career of in-game dunks, but I'm 1 for 1 in dunk contest attempts and dunk contest victories. I've won the only dunk contest I've been in.
Hey, that's
like I don't know how to really describe what happened, but basically, like in the final round, I pretty much just blacked out. Adrenaline gave me 8 to 10 extra inches, and I just pulled something out of my ass that has never been done since, and that was 4 years ago, and it will never be done again. I don't know what happened. It happened, and I wasn't even sure like what happened.
It was a filthy windmill.
Yeah, it was.
We'll throw the clip on the social media just to get it.
Yeah,
you guys look just to show you guys that that's a real deal. He won dunk contest champion.
Like in my mind, like. Here's how when historians and philosophers that, study and review history, when they look back into the annals of historic events that shaped the world into what it is today, to quote the late, great Jackie Moon, like they're going to talk about 3 things: invention of fire, the discovery of the submarine, and 4 things, actually. The day we got a studio in our basement for our podcast, and then the day I won a dunk contest and never have done it since. Yeah, that's good. All right. That was a great take. Great take. Here's my take. Here's my take of the week. And I'm just going to jump right into it kind of. My take of the week is that the Lakers are going to win. The Lakers are going to win without AD. They're going to win the next 2 games. They're going to win 4-2. All is going to be good. But here's my public service announcement to the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to keep this brief and real simple. I'm just going to simply say that I'm going to defend LeBron.
Yeah.
I'm going to publicly defend LeBron. I'm not going to defend against the flopping and all of that, but I'm just going to simply sit here and appreciate everything that he's doing, because there will come a time when the NBA will tip off and LeBron won't be, he won't be a member of the NBA. And I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I didn't appreciate him for what he's worth, you know? And I'm not going to get into the whole him versus Jordan, all that. I'm just simply going to defend LeBron.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of outsiders on the TL, a lot of social media trolls in my not in my mentions, but in my notifications, just absolutely bashing LeBron. And I get the frustrations a little bit, but I'm going to absolutely defend LeBron. So that's my take of the week, is that I got the Lakers winning 4-2, even if AD plays or if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
Got them win the next two. Yeah. They're going to make the finals. They're going to lose to the Nets. That's pretty much set in stone. It's written in the template of the NBA. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah, but
that's what it is.
That's just how the world operates, and we just have to accept that. But respect LeBron. Let's show a little love. ELE. We're a big ELE on this podcast.
Yeah. We're no slander over on this side. No
slander. No
LeBron
throwing
slander.
Shade. No, LeBron memes. We don't need any of that in the mentions anymore. We're team LeBron.
No.
We're team LeBron.
Team Bron for sure.
Team Bron. Okay. All right. Couple questions here, Tyson, and then we'll just wrap up this quick first studio episode. We got some awesome interviews coming in the next couple of weeks, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that.
Big ones coming.
We're just a little sneak peek. We're just waiting for some guys to finish up the playoffs. So
that's all you need to know.
They're like guys in the league right now have been hitting us profusely about to get on the show. Kinda.
We've been in direct talks with guys' PRs.
Yeah, we talked to our PR department last week, and they're handling some stuff, but we just got to wait till the playoffs get over. So kind of need LeBron and the Nets just hurry up and get this thing rolling a little bit. But anyways, here's another storyline that stood out to me in the past couple of weeks, is that obviously the Bucks put an absolute
beat down,
swacking.
It's just a demolishment
from a team that got swept a year ago to come back and just absolutely dominate the series from basically that overtime in game 1 to game 4. It was very impressive. But a huge storyline in that has been the emergence of Drew Holiday. Like, a lot of people are saying the Bucks kind of have that big three of Giannis, Chris Middleton, and then Drew Holiday. And it's safe to say, I mean, Drew Holiday is one of the better all-around players in the game that you'll find, in my opinion. But I also think over this past season, Drew Holiday was kind of that guy. I heard this on Bill Simmons, and I kind of want to hear your opinion on it. You talk about a guy like Drew Holiday, who is widely regarded as probably like the most underrated player in the league, right?
Right.
And now that he's basically emerged into, I'm not going to say superstar, but a very notable player on a very winning and successful team. I think he's graduated, and it's time for him to basically pass the torch down to somebody else to be the next, to be named the most underrated player in the NBA that gets nowhere near the credit they deserve. So I'm going to ask you, if you had to pick one player, he can be in the playoffs, he can be out. Who's your new guy in terms of most underrated player in the league?
All right. So my most underrated player in the league as of right now, May 31st, 2021.
Book it. We'll make sure to clip this, and once you like actually like it comes to light.
Yeah. Okay. So the most underrated player in the league right now, I'd have to say, is Tobias Harris. In Philly, you talk about Embiid, you talk about Ben Simmons, but Tobias Harris he's been having an all-star type year. He averaging 20.5 a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and just his efficiency. He's been extremely efficient, and kind of just like the other than Embiid, just the driving force scoring wise for that Sixers team, who's the number 1 team in the East. And yeah, he's definitely made himself into just a incredible pro.
I think he's really, I mean, obviously I'm not a huge Tobias Harris observer, but I will say, like, watching him over the last couple of years, he's definitely emerged as more of a 3-level guy.
Yeah.
He's improved his scoring from all 3 levels. He can defend better. He's obviously got a 6'8", 6'9" frame. He's long. He can defend. I like that. I like that pick a lot. I mean, obviously just watching the Sixers game that happened just now, Simmons was in foul trouble, and then Embiid obviously went down. So it was kind of his show. He definitely performed. they didn't get the job done. I think he still needs a little bit of help, but I think that's a good take.
Yeah.
He's like, and the thing with him too, though, is like, he's very close to getting the credit that he deserves. Like he's probably got like maybe the rest of this postseason and then like a month or two next postseason. And then he's pretty much, everyone's gonna be like, okay, Tobias Harris is an all-star. So I like that pick. That's a good one.
He's definitely, in my opinion, he's the second best player on that Sixers team. I mean, a lot of people say Ben Simmons is, but
hot take.
Tobias Harris is the second best player on the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that a lot. I tweeted this out, but I'm going to go with Norman Powell. Man. And I'm not just saying that because he absolutely like torched the Nuggets for 30 yesterday on like 11 of 13 shooting, but I just think Norman Powell's emergence as a defender, a knockdown shooter, like the way he fits into Portland's system, I think he's like really, really good. I don't think he gets anywhere like the credit. Dude, I was looking at his stats yesterday. He averages 15 a game.
Solid.
Like I thought I was like expecting to go on ESPN and see like 8, 9, like something like that. But he definitely averages like 15 a game. And so he's very, I think he's an up and comer for sure. And I think he's going to make a lot of money in his next contract. I was going to say Bryn Forbes, my guy. Hot take. Bryn Forbes might be the best off the bench guy in the postseason so far in terms of just sheer performance. Bryn Forbes. I'm a Michigan State guy, but I got Bryn Forbes.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
this is just another question. The viewers at home, give me your comment below on this. So, do you think that for Portland to take the next step, do you think they got to get rid of CJ McCollum?
That's tough. I can't figure out what Portland's got to do to take the next step, in my opinion. I think they need to get. If I were to answer your question, I would probably say yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I think they need a bigger, like, kind of frontline presence. I think to take a lot of the pressure off Dame. Obviously, CJ McCollum is one of the better scorers that you'll find, but I just don't think that, like, I don't know. I just don't think that they have quite enough firepower to get it done. Like, I think the way Portland's built is the exact same thing that they've been doing, which is like, they might sneak out a series and then every few years they'll win a second round series again, when they get paired up against the Nuggets, something like that. But I don't think they have. I mean, Dame's obviously unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's a tough. I think there's a lot of different ways they could go. I think there's also a lot of guys you get rid of, but it's like when you're playing, Covington at the 4 and then Nurkic at the 5. It's like I think if you really invested in really took the time and got Dame like a legit,
a solid 3-man,
like a solid 3-man, which would be my guy Norman Powell, which I think he's also coming into. I think his emergence could help them a lot, but I think ultimately, like, in order for them to, like, they obviously have to do something. And I think to answer your question, it's like I don't think they're going to be able to just keep CJ and Dame in order to just get that superstar big that they might need.
Right.
So I think obviously they're not going to trade Dame, so you might as well have to trade CJ or look into something like that. I don't know what Portland's going to do. But that's a good one. Here's what I had. Here's my, what is it today? Today is Monday. Here's my Monday evening thoughts. Do you think Russell Westbrook will ever win a championship?
No.
You don't think you don't think so?
No way.
Dude, I don't think so either.
If you like, I love how hard Russ plays and just the dog in him. But just the way he plays, to me, this just my opinion, just does not translate to winning a championship.
No, and I agree. And I was trying to think of, like, I mean, here's I guess another question to add on to that. Like, if you had to pair him up with another superstar in the league for him to win a championship, who you think would give Russ the best chance? And before you answer, my whole thing was like, I think Russ needs an elite, like, wing scorer. And I was even thinking like KD, and I know they played together and all that. I mean, who knows what it would be nowadays. But the other reason that made me doubt that was it's like he has like the top scorer in the league in the regular season in Bradley Beal. And so then it's like, I don't know. Like they're in the East, Yeah, it's like if you put Russ on the Nets, say you completely swap Russ and Kyrie, I don't think it's anywhere near the same effect.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is that I think is just so tough with Russ is KD's really the next best. I mean, he's the next best option for somebody to play with. But you can't put him with somebody like LeBron because he doesn't play off the ball well enough. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't shoot it well enough.
Yeah.
So he's just so like ball dominant that it's tough. Like you have to put pretty much role players around him. Like you can't have another like superstar.
No, I agree.
You know? It's my opinion.
I think too the way he's guarded, like the way teams guard him, I think makes it a lot difficult for other guys to get going because it's like it's not like Russ is a guy where they're just going over every ball screen. It's like they're giving him 2-3 steps. That's why you always see him getting a full head of steam going downhill. But then it's like if he does get rid of it and you don't have that like spot up three and you like punch back or whatever, it's like it's just another guy in there clogging it all up. And I think Russ just plays such a weird style that I think going back to the Nets thing, I think it would just mess it all up if you threw him on. Obviously, he's a ridiculous passer, has great vision. He's a triple-double machine, but it's like you said, he's just so ball dominant that I don't think it'll ever translate to a championship.
Who was the last team in the NBA to win a championship with a point guard who couldn't shoot?
Ooh, well, let's do a little recap. I mean, if you don't count LeBron as the PG last year, Rondo
was hitting threes.
Rondo was strapped last year in the bubble. Let's see who won it before that. Steph? No, I mean, I couldn't answer that question. I really couldn't answer that question for you.
I'd say it'd have to be like the Celtics.
Who was this?
It was 07-08 Celtics when Rondo didn't really have a jumper, but the game has changed since then. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think in the last 10 years in the present era, there hasn't been a point guard that can't. And the thing is no NBA team's going to play a point guard that can't shoot except for the Sixers.
Exactly. And
the Sixers aren't going to win. They're not going to win a championship. No. Yeah, that's a great somebody who listens to the show, find out who would be the strongest case for a point guard that couldn't shoot that's won championships. I mean,
Jason Kidd with the Mavs.
Yeah, I mean, you could go there because he was on that 11 team when they beat the Heat.
But that's still like a completely. I mean, the game has changed. Like Steph Curry just completely changed.
But in my opinion, Jason Kidd was more of like a true point guard than Russ is. Russ is just like a freak, dude. Like I don't know how to describe his game. Like he's just a freak, and it's just so like. It's unlike anything we've ever seen, and there's so many pros to it, but there's also so many cons to it. And you see that year in and year out, and it's like, I mean, Harden hated playing with. Like, there's just so many things that I think Russ does that just don't translate to winning. And I think it's just like, I don't know, man. It's definitely going to be he's 32. They said that on the game today. I mean, he's got the way he plays. He's got like. I'll go 6 to 8 years, but like probably 3 more like good years before he starts to like his body starts to break down. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see that. Okay, here's a me and my dad topic of conversation last night. We got in like a 10-minute debate about this in our basement. Okay. So if you're the Mavericks, right? You have Luka Doncic. Mm-hmm. Who would you rather pair him with? Porzingis or Rudy Gobert? Like, if you're going to give him a second option.
This might be a hot take. I'm taking Rudy.
I said Rudy, too.
Because Porzingis, like, he can stretch the floor. He'll hit a couple threes. But defensively, he's a liability.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, two, I think Rudy does so much stuff that, like, will show up in, like, a deep analytical stat sheet. That's not, like, in your basic points, rebounds, assists. Like, the way Rudy just his presence, like the way, body. Like just the way he like defends the game. Yeah. And like, I mean, obviously John Morant's been going crazy in this series and it's like people try and do everything they can to get him away from the basket. But I just think like the Mavs, like him and Luka, like in that pick and roll, like it's just like
dangerous. And the thing about it too, like it's a better option to have a, like Rudy Gobert is such a better lob threat than Porzingis. And I mean, Porzingis can stretch the floor, but there's shooters around Luka already.
No, absolutely.
So he doesn't really need that as much. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. And I don't think the Mavs, like, I've heard some people say the Mavs need to, like, surround Luka with better options. It's like Luka doesn't need better options. Like he's so good as it is. Good. Like he can. He proved it in the first 2 games. Like he can win them legit games.
Yeah.
He just needs guys that can make open shots. But I think just having that elite rim protector and like, I just think that would make such a difference. I mean, obviously you look at Utah, it's like Utah has kind of the same dynamic as Dallas if you were to put Gobert on that team, because it's like Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Luka's obviously better than him, but still at the same time, it's like the same kind of dynamic. Yeah. It's like you have one, like who's quote unquote the guy, the superstar, and then you have Gobert. And it's like the same thing with the Mavs. You have Luka as a superstar and then Porzinigis.
Yeah, but it's –
I think if Gobert was on the Mavs would be really, really good.
I think so too.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous. We'll talk. I want to talk about a couple more things. We'll talk Knicks real quick, or not Knicks, Nets real quick.
Yeah, my guys.
Oh my God.
Like, man.
They lost. I think I don't know. I mean, it's not like no team's going to go 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, 4-0 on the way to the title. Everybody's got to lose. But I mean, dude, there was a point in the game last night where like, it was like probably the last 6 minutes, the Celtics were just running 2 guys every single time at Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. And then all these other guys were just dunks, high post floaters. Like it was just like there's literally no way to like guard these guys.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I am a huge Kyrie guy. That's my favorite player.
No, he's real deal.
And just to see like he's really, they have three of the most unguardable players to ever play.
Like the 3 best isolation players in basketball. You could make the case that all 3 of them are probably
top 10 all time.
I mean, I was going to say 3, for sure 3 of the top 5 isolation players of all time. Yeah. I mean, I would throw Jordan in there, and then I'd have to Kobe probably. Yeah. Those would be my 5. Those would probably be my 5 top ISO players. And I'm sure there's other guys you can make a case for, but I think those would kind of be my 5 best isolation basketball players of all time.
Bro.
But then it's like you surround him in a guy in Joe Harris, who's one of the most elite shooters in the NBA.
Yeah.
A guy who's going to get a ton of money, probably not on the Nets. He's going to have to go somewhere else. And it's just like, I mean, Blake Griffin, he was the number 1 pick. He was an all-star. Like, obviously he's out of his prime. He kind of screwed the Pistons over, but he's back. Dude, like, I just don't see how anyone beats them. It makes no, like, I don't see it at all.
And I think a lot of people said it wouldn't work because of egos and everything. But in my opinion, these dudes are in the point in their career where it's just like they're trying to win.
Here's a hot take that I think will fire some, like, James Harden's unselfish, in my opinion.
Super.
James Harden's like super unselfish.
He had 17 assists last night.
No, like super. And when you just watch him play, like, the last 4 games, I mean, he hasn't taken more than 3 shots in like the first quarter and a half of all 4 games. Like he just like, he gets everybody going. And then there's just a lull like mid-second quarter where Harden, like Kyrie and KD kind of take their first break and Harden stays in. He just goes crazy.
Yeah, bro. It's like.
And it's like, that's the difference between like, if you're going to have a superstar tandem like that, obviously, I mean, we've seen it with all the teams that have worked. Like you have to have a guy. That's why I don't like the Clippers. You see it sometimes struggling. You have to have a guy who's just unbelievably unselfish, and that's what you have in James Harden.
Yeah, like I think the downfall for the Clippers is they don't have a point guard, really. I mean, actually, I take that back. Rondo, but
they need to play Rondo more, in my opinion. Yeah. I still think though the Clippers are going to steamroll through the Mavs at this point. They tied it up, like they're going to steamroll through them. It's over.
Luka's he's injured, so
it's the Mavs had their chance, bro. They had to win one at home. They didn't do it. It's bad now. No, that's a great point. Last little point here. Obviously, Denver kids, Denver guys. Nuggets took first off, I'm just gonna say, for anyone listening, either in Colorado or out of the state, the fact that we can't watch the Nuggets game if it's on NBA TV is absolutely ridiculous. That's heinous.
It's ridiculous, bro. I don't understand.
I was flipping through the channels for game 3 and I'm like, Dad, where the hell's the Nuggets? He's like, oh, you haven't heard? And I was like, no. He's like, Comcast is having a major, I guess it's been going on. I don't watch the Nuggets frequently enough to just know that, but I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Game 3, the playoffs. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I think the Nuggets are it's not going to end well these next couple. It's got to
deep waters. What we're talking about with Nick, like it's the guard play is just the ends. It's just like complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
No, 100%. There's that. And then there's also the fact that the first 3 games, Portland let Jokic go one-on-one and just kind of like do whatever. And like they basically said Jokic is going to beat us. And like he's the MVP of the league. And like he did. Like he beat him 2 out of 3 times. But then in game 4, Portland I thought they went a lot more like small ball. And they basically made like other guys beat him. Like Marcus Howard was 1 for 9. Like nobody could make a shot. And it was just like, I was watching that game like, oof, like this is not good. MPJ is going to have to step up. They need something. They need something bad. This is like, I mean, obviously this is where it just kills not having Jamal Murray. I know that's a very broad and kind of generic statement, but it's just like, bro, it's like you need a guy at the guard. Guards win games. Guards win games. Guards win games at every level of basketball. That's all I've heard. Like coaches just, guards win games. Guards win games. And the Nuggets, the guard play is not there right now.
Not there. It's that was a huge blow.
I will say though, I love Facu. He's just, dude. Facu is an absolute just magician on the court. But yeah, dude, it's
scary.
It's looking real scary. Well, we'll
see.
We'll kind of cut it off there. We're about 4 games into every series. Major storylines. The Nets are a wagon. They're not going to lose.
As of right now,
LeBron's about to do what LeBron does, and we're going to do the same cycle that we've seen in the playoffs the last 12 years, where LeBron just you think this is the year he's going down, and he just rips everybody's heart out every single series.
Yeah, the Bucks are at home chilling. I hope Giannis is working on his jumper.
Yeah, dude, Giannis
is gonna need it against the Nets.
Dude, the Bucks and the Nets is gonna be that's gonna be.
I think it'll go 7.
Bro, like that might be for the title. Like low
hot
key,
take.
like super low key. That might be
hot take.
I don't know. Like I just think that. I mean, when you look at the West, it's like Utah, no, Phoenix,
no.
Whoever went, like the Lakers, and then I guess you could throw the Clippers in there. The Lakers and the Clippers are the only teams in the West that have a chance to beat the Nets. I mean,
yeah.
And then maybe the New York Knicks if they can somehow sneak it out.
You think
I got the Knicks going. I got the Knicks winning the series. Dude. They're going to beat Atlanta.
You think they're going to come through back 3-1?
Yeah, 100%. I think so. Julius is going to figure
shots.
it out. D-Rose.
No shots.
They're going to – this is how I predict the series. They're going to sneak a Game 5 victory. Like it's going to be just a grind. It's like a 78-75. Like Alec Burks is going to have 18 to be the leading scorer. That's who's going to win him the game. And then you go Game 6 back in Atlanta. Somebody on the Knicks, like just a complete ringer. I'm going to predict RJ Barrett 35 plus. Knicks win like 110-95. Then it goes back to MSG for Game 7, and the crowd just propels them to victory.
Obi Toppin with 15, 10, and 5.
Obi Toppin's going to break out and have the game that everybody was just like, oh, all right. Knicks win the first round. They get the Sixers, beat them 4-2. They get the Nets, take them to 7. Nets are gassed. LeBron wins the chip. That's the official playoff. My official playoff predictions. Little ridiculous, and just kind of that was all just moral picks. And if I had to actually sit down, I'd change a lot of that. But just like deep in my soul, that's just what is flowing through me right now.
Hey, you gotta feel it.
You gotta feel it. You gotta feel it. Well, brother, this was fun
for sure.
So everyone tuning in we are now filming because we're in studio. Yep. So we'll be live on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe at Off the Hardwood. We'll be producing lots of content. We got lots of cool interviews coming up. We're going to be traveling, doing some stuff. It'll be fun. We're even going to try and I was looking into this. Our equipment can be transported.
Oh, easily.
So we're going to do some on the road interviews. We're going to road game a little bit, get some interviews going. It's going to be rowdy.
And in the comments, let us know some things that you guys want to see in the future, and we'll definitely make sure to incorporate that.
Yeah, man, a lot of great reviews so far. This has been a lot of fun for us. We're 5 episodes in right now. This has been fun. Just a little summer project. This has been a good time for us. We're excited to keep this going. But
definitely, and if you guys could hit us with a subscribe and a like, that'd be good. Just so we can keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
it's a pleasure. Signing out.
Over and out.